What's going on, you lot? Welcome to LWT Trading. In this video, we're going to be talking about VERO, Venus Concept Incorporated, which was my trade of the week. But before we get into it, I need to go get a refill on the tea. So now that the tea is sorted, we can talk about VERO, which is my stock of the week. Every week I'm going to be going through these, talking about what my favorite trade of the week is or my worst trade of the week. And basically, long story short, hopefully a valuable lesson to you beautiful people watching. If you are new here, please do hit that subscribe button, like this video, and wait throughout the video. I'll be asking you a question to answer in the comments below. Okay, without further ado, let's get over to the chart. So VERO, if we put it on a daily chart, we can see that since its IPO back in 2017, it's a pretty damn horrific chart, which of course is the first indicator for a short. But that said, we've seen a lot of runners lately, and you need to do your due diligence. Due diligence. Why can't I say due diligence? You know what I mean. Moving on. Anyway, coming back, we can see that in November of last year, it did a reverse split 1 to 15, which is another sign of the company basically trying to keep above that $1 mark to stay in NASDAQ compliance. If you don't know what reverse splits are, let me know in the comments and I can do a video on that. It's no problem. But basically what happens with a reverse split is if you had 15 shares, after the split, you now only have 1 share. Everything's divided by 15. The float is divided by 15 and the price goes up, you know, in relevance to that. It's pretty damn logical, really. But we can do a whole video on that. Just let me know in the comments. But that led me to believe that, you know, it's a potential short. And what I start doing now with trades is I tend to put these little horizontal lines on where there's support. And we can see after the reverse split, there's some support here down at the 240, 250 area. There's a bit of a top here at 450. And of course, we're ignoring this last day candle. There's a sort of pretty decent top here around the 858 area. Let's put another one in at 8 just to be safe. And then there's a top here as well. A clear top there, let's say for a 750. So we can see that there is some sort of insider manipulation of some sort, and there's sort of certain price points where this stock tends to fail. Now the good thing is this stock was actually gapping up quite a damn lot on Friday the 2nd of July, upon which this video might actually come out on Independence Day. So ungrateful colonialists, happy Independence Day. It's a joke before anybody gets like really upset and offended. Just chill your socks, Winston. Have a cup of tea and you'll be fine, man. Don't know what accent that was. But yeah, this stock was gapping up and it was up pre-market, I believe 70 something percent, which, you know, straight away jumped on Trade Zero, reserved my shorts. I think they were $24. Sorry, they were $27.30 for 700. So not that expensive really. So I reserved 700 with the willingness to reserve another 300 at a later point, which is I tend to reserve in blocks now, because if there's no shares available at a later date, then that sort of worries me, because a lot of people are looking at this short and short squeezes can happen. So I do reserve in chunks. Little tip there for you. But VERO, long story short, if we go back and let's put it on 15s, we can see that it's had a few gaps recently as well. And it always gives it back. We had a gap here pre-market, give it back. Gap here pre-market, give it back. Gap here, you can see the pattern. So that was the very, very simple basis. That was really 2 indicators that it is a short biased trade. Then if we go down to the filings, if you don't know how to read filings, again, let me know in the comments. But VERO, basically you type in the ticker, SEC filings, go into Google, type that in, and you'll come up with their filings. I tend to go on the NASDAQ website because it's much more reliable than the others. But basically we're looking here, down here, for anything that says 424B, effect, the 10Qs, things like that. 10Q is basically the quarterly report or annually report. It's a report, tells you all their balance sheets, but you don't really need to look at it that much. You've got an effect here, which is basically saying that they're going to do some dilution. You've got a 424B5 there as well. So with all these, the 424Bs, the effects and stuff, with the, you know, other bits of chart, you can sort of see. Now, I did look at the filings. I did go through them and see that they did have some outstanding shares. to dilute. I don't know if they did dilute. We'll know that only in a few days' time. But given the volume it's traded in comparison to the previous gap day volumes, yeah, I think it probably did do some form of effect. So given all that, the downtrending chart, the dilution, and the reverse splits and things like that, it is definitely a short bias trade. It's not exactly a low float. You've got, you know, I think it was 37 million I checked on the filings. So it's not really that, you know, good of a long, unless, you know, it's getting mega volume. On this day, we had a few other trades. We had Fran, which was getting crazy volume as well. In fact, a lot more volume, especially pre-market. So that's another little indicator that not many longs are going to be watching this ticker, because all the action's in Fran, which everyone who chased got burnt on Fran. So VERO, I actually took 300 shares at with an average of 480. I was actually into this pop here, if you can see it. Let me zoom in. So we've got very sketchy volume. This is why I didn't want to attack it with full size. We had this sort of little buy up wicks here, and yeah, I got in here. I think I had an average of 480 in the end about this break, so I think I was actually sizing in this little bit, to be honest, because there was more volume. And that said, yeah, I only got 300 shares. I did want to take around about 500 before the break of sort of 480. Again, we've got this sort of like line. You can see a descending triangle forming there. And the break came down. So it was quite a relatively simple trade. I just wish I had more size in it. Then my next plan was basically at the open, if we get a decent enough push towards this area, get, you know, the similar entry. I don't really want to lose my 480 average. But unfortunately, I didn't really get that. So let me just put a horizontal line on there for you. So we have the entry marked out at 480. So we have 300 shares there. And then we have this little push at the open. I'll be honest with you, at this little push here, I was sort of thinking, damn, I should have added. But I didn't. I stuck to my plan, which was quite simply hope for a push at the open and get an entry as close to 480 as I want. Didn't really get that, unfortunately. But, you know, it is what it is. I think that's because all the action was on Fran in the first few minutes. But, you know, this, again, push downwards. This push upwards probably just short covers getting out before the opening bell. But this push downwards just proves to me that this is going to downtrend, especially for the opening bell. Then at the opening bell, we have this sort of inside candle and then a rip up. I was sort of wanting this candle to continue going higher. It didn't. And then when this candle came in here, this is like, right, okay, I need to get my 300 shares. This is going to die. So I got in on this candle on the way down, actually, with not the best entry, with 338, which was not great. It brought my average way down. I only got a partial fill. And then, yeah, I didn't realize, but I got another partial fill on the way down. The downside of using market orders, really, at the end of this candle here. So coming into that, I've now got 600 shares. With an average of 450, I believe it was, or something like that. I think it was like 455, so around this area. And then, quite simply, unfortunately, it was actually my mother-in-law's birthday. We can't miss these out, so I had to leave early. I had to leave at 10 o'clock Eastern. So I started having my covers ready. I actually had a cover then in already at 406, just in case the hole number 4 didn't break. And it took me out. These orders I already had put in. If anyone's asking how did I get filled on that, I already have my orders pretty much put in case these little rug pulls happen, just to make sure I'm out, because if not, someone else is going to take that little knockdown and you're going to be left bag holding, which is what happened with the reserve of my shares. My last sort of sell order was actually at 4. I didn't get that. I actually had to cover at 4 or 9 at 9.58, which would have been here. Which, again, not the greatest, not the worst, but I'll take it. For a Friday, for literally hardly any work, $261 on the day, and I'll take that every day of the week. So big thank you to everybody who's stuck with us through this whole pandemic, and more importantly, my 1-year absence on YouTube. It's really much appreciated. I'm actually quite happy some traders are still around trading, because majority of people come and blow up and all that other stuff, and they don't want to take advice. They just want to buy a course for 10 grand and get picks. That's not what trading's about. Trust me, it isn't. So anyway, I'm going to leave you for that. All my details are in the description. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, join the chat room, the free version if you want to, and I'll see you after this. It's a quick tea break. Do you like it when I look in the eyes while I sip? Or is it a bit intimidating? I don't know. Maybe I should just close my eyes while I sip. Is that more romantic? Oh, yeah. See you later.